Hello everyone, welcome to part 4. Today we are going to build Signin with Firebase. Let's start by working with the view models folder. The view model folder usually contains the logic behind our views. So let's make a new file. We'll hit Command N, make sure it's a Swift file, click Next, and we'll call it login view model. Now inside this file, we'll make a class called login view model and we'll conform it to observable object. Make sure it's observable object. Now first we'll transfer our name, email and password variables from the login view to our login view model. We'll do that by using add published. Add published var email of type string and we'll say it's empty for now. And same thing with add published var password of type string empty string and we'll use it in our login view. Now we'll make a variable called view model inside our login view. We can do that by doing add state object private var view model is equal to login view model. Now inside our text fields, instead of using email and password from our view, we'll use them from inside our view model by removing our email and simply saying view model dot email. Same thing with password. We'll do view model dot password. We'll build our code to see if it still works. And we can even remove our email and password variables from our view now. Let's come back to our login view model. Now we want to build our login function. Now let's work on a login function. We can do func login, but before we start signing in users, we need to have some basic validation. Like we don't want the user to enter a lot of white spaces in their email or password. And we want like at least the password to have an @ symbol or a dot. So we'll implement that in a validate function validate, and we'll use a variable called error to store our error messages in case our validation fails. Let's call it error message. Let's start with a login function and then we'll transfer the validation code in a validate function. Okay, so the first thing that we want is to check whether we have a lot of white spaces in our email or password. So we can do that by using a guard. By the way, I'm hoping you know what a guard is. Email dot white spaces. So basically we'll use trimming characters in white spaces. Dot is empty. And we'll do a similar thing for our password. Password dot trimming characters white spaces dot is empty. Else our error message would be enter a valid email password. Or we can say fill in all the fields. For now, we'll just return to fulfill our guard condition. Now, similarly, we'll check whether the email at least contains an @ symbol or a dot symbol. We can do that by doing guard email dot contains. And now for our rejects, for now we'll just simply do an @ symbol and email dot contains and a dot symbol. Else our error message would be enter a valid email. and we'll return. So that's our basic validation. What we'll do is we'll move it to our validate function, and we'll have a validate function return us a bool. So if the value is true, we'll continue with our login. If it's false, we'll stop and we'll not proceed with our sign in or login. Let's say it returns a bool. If we have the error of white spaces, we'll return false. Same with the rejects, we'll return false. And if both of the conditions are executed and we have not returned false, we'll simply return true. Now to apply this validate function into our login function, you could do something like guard validate else return. Now let's work on signing in our users using Firebase. We'll simply import our Firebase auth, and with just a line of code, we'll sign in our users. We can say auth dot sign in. We need with email password. Yes, our email would be email, our password would be password, and we don't need a completion for now. And that's it. That's how easy it is to sign in with Firebase. And lastly, we'll just call this login function in our login view. In our TK button with the label login, we'll simply say view model dot login. Now, before we wrap up, we also need to display our error message. So simply we can do if view model dot error message, then we'll display our error message. Okay, I forgot to put dot is empty, and we'll say no. That's it. That's our sign in using Firebase done.